I made this horse, and today I'm going to tell you how you can make one exactly like it. The full free pattern is on the Lucy Kate Crochet website, and what I'm going to do today is just chat through a bit about the design, how I came up with it, and I'm just going to show you quickly how I did the mane and the tail as well. It is there in writing in the pattern too, but sometimes having a little bit of visual can really help you to nail that. And it's a lovely effect that you can then use for other animals' hair or fur as well, or even human like dolly hair. This horse was a really important pattern for me because I made it for my daughter and she doesn't just like horses. She is horse mad. Horses are the center of everything that she's thinking about most of the time, and it's really, really lovely to have something that you're passionate about. As we know, you're probably watching this because you're passionate about crochet, or maybe because you're going to become passionate about crochet once you've made your own horse. Passions are fantastic in a lot of ways, but they can also mean that you've got a higher sort of level of critique and eye for detail than you do about other things. And my totally adorable, wonderful daughter is horse fixated, right? So I had to get this horse right, and I've been putting off making it for ages for that reason. Thankfully, I think she really likes it, which is brilliant. But I just wanted to talk to you about sort of the importance of some of the details of the pattern in that respect to help you when you're designing your own stuff, and also help you when you're putting together the horse that you make for yourself or someone who loves horses in your life. So with this style of toy, the sort of plushy amigurumi crochet toy, the body is this fairly standard pear shape that we see for a lot of patterns. For the legs to be horse-like, you needed to have hooves, of course, and I highlighted them in this different colour. And now I'm looking at them, I'm thinking I'm going to do the same style as I've done from the hair to add detail to these feet as well, to make them look a bit furry, because it is intended to be a cart horse style of horse. And they're like a level down from Shire horse, so they're quite chunky and they've got fluffy feet. I used this one round of back loop only before I did the decrease and then increase again to define the hooves. And so that's the line that you can see around the edge here. And back loop only is a lovely technique to use for hooves because it just gives that more defined jar as it expands. Body and legs, pretty straightforward crochet toy stuff. Face, it was really important to get right, and particularly with regards to the eyes and the ears. So the head shape, it's sort of this pear shape, if you pop it like this, which is how you'll hold pears. It's a pear kind of shape, right? But I gave a definition to the muzzle by growing it out and then nipping it in a little before expanding it again. I was also more careful with the colour change than I perhaps normally am when I'm making toys, just so that it was relatively seamless around. Now you can probably just about see where the colour change is, but I did it by using the slip stitch method. So when you're going in an increasing round, you just keep working around, but for colour changes for this particular pattern, I did a slip stitch through, so I put my hook through for the slip stitch. I then yarned over in the new colour and pulled that all the way through the stitch, made a chain one with that new colour, and then worked round, keeping that as the first stitch of that round. And what that means is that when you continue on, it gives this just tiny line of colour change rather than a complex colour change. So from there, we came up and we increased for the face, and when I got to the top of the head, I then had to decide what I was going to do about the eyes. I tried all types of different sizes and styles of eyes. I decided that this sort of plain black was probably the best look for this type of toy. And I wanted to make a judgment call between putting it in a position that would work for a horse, but also still having that cute toy effect. So I used this lovely trick where you tie the eyes together to set them in slightly, which allowed it, I think, to tick both of those boxes. Now the ears, they are slightly caricature ears for a horse. Horses' ears are proportionately a little bit smaller, and in fact, we're verging on donkey territory here. But what I did to get them to look more equine is that, good word, right? Is that I folded the magic circle flat. So it's a magic circle and then an increase out there. And I folded the shape flat like I often do with ears, but then I folded these two corners over there to make this sort of little pocket. And into that pocket, I sewed a patch of a different colour to tie into the other parts. So I think that brings that together quite nicely. And now let's look at the hair. So I did this with a series of chains that were then slip stitched back into the beginning to form a loop, chain 1, and then another set of chains that I then attached after that chain 1 to make it a loop. And I'm going to show you what I did there a little bit closer up as well. Depending on whether you're doing the main or the end or the beginning of the tail, it's going to change the number of chains that you do, but you can follow the pattern for that. But basically, let's have a very quick look. So we're going to make, let's say, a chain of 20 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And for the first lot, all we're going to do is slip stitch through the first chain to make a closed ring. What you're going to do now is a chain 1, and then you're going to make another chain of 20, and you're going to put your hook through the second one from the loop. So you're going to leave one chain and then slip stitch again. So you're growing out a little chain with loops attached to it. And that's really all there is to it. And when you sew it, you attach your yarn needle onto the end, and you're going to sew through each of these ends of these chains into the relevant part of the body or tail. I attached the tail onto a small section. It's actually what it is like in a real horse as well. There is a section of bone here that begins the tail, and then the rest comes off it. And again, I'm pretty pleased with how that's turned out, looking pretty good. So yeah. So that's my quick introduction to this pattern for you. I hope that's been interesting and helpful. All my patterns are free, so just go to the Lucy Kate Crochet website. I'll link it down below, and the pattern's laid out there for you. If you've got any questions, you can pop them in the comments section under this video, or you can put them on the pattern itself on my website. But if you ask them here, I am probably more likely to see them quicker than I am on the site. So let's have a chat below. Let me know what you think. Do you like the horse? And importantly, should I now very slightly change it and make a donkey? What do you think? Let me know, and I'll chat to you in the comments. Happy crocheting!